Welcome to Pro Mod School. We want to thank you guys for coming out to our second race on the NHRA Pro Mod circuit. We had Pro Mod race 2 weeks ago in Gainesville. You guys are very fortunate to get to see a race within a race. We got one round of qualifying in. Mother Nature came and wiped our event out. So our entire eliminations from Gainesville is being contested during qualifying here. Normally we don't do that, but Q1 today, I think we're on track at 3:45 and 6:30. 3:45 Q1 from Gainesville, or Q1 here is E1 in Gainesville. So there's no test passes, there's no shakedown runs. You get to see a race within a race, so we're excited.
What's that feel like? I mean, I know you've done that because you get out in those open trailers and throw some money down and take some guys out of their business, but what's that feel like as a racer, knowing that you got to go right on that track and go after someone in Q1?
Our NHRA Pro Mod competitors are professionals. We all approach every single round like it's a final round. It's not that big a deal. There's a little more pressure, but it's like a grudge race, right? We're very experienced in grudge racing, and we're going to pull some double bulb flickering grudge tactics out. These things, you don't get to make enough runs a year, so all of our drivers approach this like it's the last time they're going to go down the track. So there's a little extra pressure, but it's business as usual here. We're ready to roll.
Let's school these fine gentlemen and ladies out here. Let's school them a little bit about, let's talk a little bit about pro modified cars in general. Give us a rundown of your thoughts, and I know you've said it many times, these are probably the hardest cars to drive indoors. And you've had proof from top fuel drivers and funny car drivers that have tried to do this. Run us through a little bit about your thoughts.
So if you guys have followed my career for a while, you've heard me say this exact phrase. Like when I was a kid, I never wanted to be a fireman or president or anything. I wanted to race cars, and I didn't want to just race cars, I wanted to run pro mod cars. Pro modified drag racing is unusual in the aspect that we have the most available horsepower with the least amount of downforce that there is in drag racing. And what that means is everybody asks us that's a novice fan, what's the difference between a pro stock car and a pro mod car? They look the same. The difference is about 1,500 horsepower. We do everything that we do to these cars. These things are built from scratch cars. They start as pipe and carbon fiber, or string and glue is what carbon fiber is. And we tailor each one of these cars for a specific purpose. Phil Schuler's favorite thing that he likes to tell me is, don't get emotionally attached to your race car. That thing's just a screwdriver. It's made to put the screw in the hole. And he's right. We build these things around the driver. Everything that you see is based around safety first, keeping the driver safe in the capsule, making the car as aerodynamic as possible, and then making the most available horsepower. What you get when you have that, though, is a very slippery race car. They're very hard to drive. You can go to any one of these pits and you can ask any top fuel driver that has ever driven a pro mod, and every single one of them will tell you that they're more dangerous than a top fuel dragster. Most guys and ladies that get in them slide them around a little bit. So basically a pro mod is an experiment with 3,000 horsepower, and you're literally driving the thing with your butt.
You know, that's incredible that you bring that up, because I think you had that type of horsepower in some of your cars you won championships in.
Oh, yeah?
And I go way back to the little orange car. I want to step up to where you are today. I want to go back a little bit. You drove the little orange, was a Pro Charge back
oh, yeah.
Bolted on the front.
Yep.
And you moved into winning championships and taking people out. When did that dream come to you, thinking that I do want to drive one of these? Was it working in between the lines of running those cars?
Well, I never thought that I would be able to make it to a pro mod driver level. That's the pinnacle for me. It's the top. So like when we started racing the orange car back in the late 90s and early 2000s, it was never on my radar that I would ever be good enough to drive one of these cars, because you really do have to be good at what you do to race these cars. But the financial support side of it, gaining sponsorship, and all the tools that it takes to run a pro mod style car, it was never on my radar until we started really winning championships. We started knocking people dead, and I realized at an early age that I'm not smarter than anyone else. I just outwork them, and that's the deal. If you work harder than everybody else and you can pay attention to everything that you do that fails in life, kind of like when I did the burnout 2 weeks ago and ran into the Crown Vic, that went into the book of don't do that again. So like when you stack up the book of stuff not to do, that's kind of where the dream came from. In 2013, when KH gave me the opportunity to race for Alanabi, we came out and won a championship with me and Billy Stockley right away. I was like, all right, we can do this. And that's the pro mod's the top for me.
And there was the butterflies in your stomach too, right? When KH came to you and you said, All right, well, I'm going to give you a check. I'm going to give you the parts and pieces you need. And you didn't have to rub two sticks together to make fire anymore and eat moon pies and RC Cola. Things started changing for you then, didn't it?
I'm still rubbing two sticks together trying to make fire. The theory of taking Stevie Jackson from pro mod racer to KTR business owner, it doesn't always go as planned, so it takes a lot. But pro mod racing is also unique in the fact that we're all a big family out here. When you walk around to all these teams, every one of them is going to talk to you guys. We're happy that you're here. If you have questions about the cars, ask us. We love talking about our race cars. Our cars are, and our people and our marketing partners, our team owners and our crew chiefs, you know, we're just kids that like playing with race cars too. We just get to do it on a higher level. We cannot do what we do without you guys. The fans are the boss, and you guys coming out and supporting us, hating on us when we do bad and jumping up and down when we do good, that's what we do. Let's talk a little bit about technical stuff.
Yeah, do that. I was going to ask you a little bit. Let's start with the wheelie bars. How important is the wheelie bar for the length of that car? And I mean that because you were talking about how they skate around and these things slide around. Is that wheelie bar very important to keep you straight down the track?
So everything that you see on a Pro Mod car that you can see is there for an exact purpose. Everything that you can't see is where we're doing all the voodoo magic stuff that we don't want you to see. So the wheelie bar is important for two reasons. One, it actually steers the car on the starting line. You'll see these cars take off, and you'll see them most of the time. If you watch a Q1 round of Pro Mod specifically, you'll see more aborted runs from cars going left and right than any other class out here. And the reason is because we're so dependent on the wheelie bar for wheel speed, car balance, and to stop the car from actually flipping over down track. So we actually steer the car for the first 300 feet with the wheelie bar. And the way we do that is with stagger. So we will run, depending on the weight of the driver, the suspension setup, how much power we're able to make that day, and the way the track surface is, and if it has crown, we'll stagger the height of the wheelie bar up and down. If the car's driving left, we pick the left wheelie bar up and use the right wheelie bar, and vice versa. And what you'll see in Q1, you'll see it today, is you'll see a lot of cars go left and right. And what that means is we didn't get a shot. It's our first shot at the racetrack in that lane, and we maybe didn't have the wheelie bar stagger right for that run. So you'll see us have to abort. So the goal in a Q1, E1 situation is you cannot make a mistake. You have to get it perfect. The wheelie bar actually sets the attitude of the whole run. So the wheelie bar, very, very crucial part.
Absolutely. Now, when you say it goes left, you might see cars going left. Is that ever acquired from pinion steer too?
It's all rear steer, so we actually stagger the wheels on the car. The cars have so much power that we don't run the same wheelbase on both sides. Your standard Pro Mod wheelbase is 110 inches of wheelbase on the right side of the car, 112 on the left side. We call that a 110, 112. We put 2 inches of stagger in it because that's what the rule book allows us to have. So what that does, by putting the left tire 2 inches in front of the right tire, you actually keep both tires in the staging laser beam for longer. What that does is it produces ET, and it slows down the driver reaction time because it takes the car longer to start the timing process. Now we're limited on that. If we didn't have a rule on that, we'd have a 20-inch stagger, and the car would run 530, but the driver would have a 500 light. So when you talk about steer and preload, we already start with 2 inches of stagger on both sides, and then we actually move the rear end in the car sideways. The passenger wheel goes forward in the car, and it steers like a forklift. So like if the car's pointing this way, you move the rear end this way, and it actually drives the car to the right. These cars, naturally, because of the rotation of the engine, they want to go left. And then we use the wheelie bar, rear steer, and preload to make them go straight.
That's incredible. Now, you've been through all types of power adders, right? And when you're talking about, wheelie bars and rear steer and all that, tell me a little bit about the power adders. I know you've done turbos, blowers, pro chargers, nitrous oxide. You're still big on that down at the shop. You help a lot of your customers out in all types of programs. What's one of your favorites here? Is it the blower?
So, of course, it's always going to be the blower, but what makes Pro Mod unique is the fact that we have so many different available power adders and choices for the racer. I'm a nostalgia body guy. I love old cars. I want this whole field full of Studebakers and old Chevrolets and Chevelles. So we're working on tiered weight brakes to get older stuff back in. We don't want a class of new Camaros and Mustangs, but the coolest thing is the fact that no matter what your flavor of power adder is, we have it. If you like turbochargers, we got it. Nitrous, centrifugal pro prochargers, roots blown, screw blown superchargers. We have all of that. They all make between 2,800 and about 3,200 horsepower. And then we tier the weights and the supercharger overdrive and the turbo size and boost limit and cubic inch displacement on the nitrous to get them to run the same. It's a really hard thing to do, to put 4 or 5 power adders together and have them run the same. Our rule makers and NHRA does a great job of that. Most of the time, if you look across the field, you'll only see 2 or 3 hundredths of a second between all the power adders. But the screw blown combination is definitely the best.
It's one of your favorites.
It's the loudest.
It's the loudest.
If you ask, if you go to the stands after a run and ask any person that's blind what's the coolest car, they'll tell you a screw blower.
That's incredible. And now, of course, every one of those programs you just mentioned and those power adders come with a weight breaker, or add a weight or take a weight. I mean, what's one of the lightest programs here this weekend?
The lightest combination is definitely the nitrous car. I think they get to be 50 or 60 pounds under. They make good power. So if you go across the pros and cons of the power adders, we'll run it through real quick. The nitrous combination makes about 2,850 horsepower. They're available up to 960 cubic inches. They run 6 stages of nitrous. They consume about 6,000 pounds per hour of nitrous, and it uses about 5 to 6 pounds of nitrous out of 2 15-pound carbon fiber bottles per run. They're also allowed to run a lockup style torque converter. They're the only combination on the property that gets to do that, and they're limited to 5 forward gears. Roots blown cars weigh a little bit more. They're 2,620 pounds. Mandated to run an open torque converter, which means it doesn't have a friction disc in it, 3-speed transmission, and then all the screw, roots, and centrifugal combinations are limited on rear gear. And they do that to stop us from, so we're limited on overdrive that we can run. I have a saying that me and my crew chiefs talk about. Anything that we want to do that makes the car faster is illegal. So, I mean, I can spend $5 and pick this thing up 2/10, but we're limited on overdrive, valve size, cubic inches. So we mandate engine speed based on rear gear. A root style supercharger is limited to a 457 rear gear. A screw blown combination is limited to a 411, and I'm not sure on the centrifugal, we don't have one here, but I think they're also limited to a 456. It's pretty exciting. Besides the nitrous car, everything's 3-speed open, and it's crazy how differently you have to tune every combination, and then they all end up running about the same.
Absolutely, and you've run them all. I mean, you ran the nitrous cars, you've run the Pro Charge cars, and obviously the blow is your favorite, but you did have success in the other categories. I can remember, if my mind remembers right.
Yeah, KTR still holds the nitrous world record of the universe with a 354 JR Gray, one of our Pro Mod competitors here in the Alan Abbey team. It was with his car, with him driving. He's running a blower car here, and he's still the fastest man on the planet with nitrous.
Tell us a little bit about the transmissions now. And I don't know if back when you were dreaming about being a Pro Mod guy, it was clutches, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it seems now that the automatic is the thing to do here. Tell us a little bit about what makes that work for you.
I hear this all the time from the fans, and I want to go ahead and set the record straight right here. If it was up to me, if Stevie J got to make the rules, we would have a magneto, a clutch, we would manually shift it and have no electronics, and I would kill everybody here except for Todd Tutterow and Ricky Smith into the ground, right? But transmission and torque converter technology has evolved so much in the last 5 years. The reason that these cars, that we continually have to make rule adjustments to slow them down, is because as the technical department slows us down, we continue to develop the drivetrain to be more efficient. In the old days, you had a clutch, and you had whatever amount of gear sets that you would have to run, and you would slip the clutch on the starting line, and the faster you can apply the clutch, the faster it goes, much the way that the fuel cars run. Today, torque converter technology has almost obsoleted the clutch in the Pro Mod field, and there's 2 reasons. One, it's a tremendous amount of work to run a clutch. The amount of labor and the additional employee that you have to have in the shop to service clutch discs and floaters, and the precision of setting it up makes it very difficult. But the hardest thing is the quick turnaround for us on Sunday. Most of the time between rounds on Sunday, we have about 20 minutes in the pits. It's really hard to get a clutch out, service it, put discs and floaters in it, get it set up, never make a mistake, and get it to the starting line. For transmission variety here, you have basically a couple of kinds. You have a tie drive, which is very popular. There's also Bruno drive and quick drive. All of those fall into the converter drive scenario, which means you have a part that bolts to the engine that turns the converter, that makes the fluid pressure, makes the output shaft turn, and then you connect your transmission of choice behind that, whether it be a B&J or a Lenco or a Liberty style transmission. That's your one category. And then you have what's most prevalent right now, which is the TH400, which is actually based off of factory production turbo 400 3-speed that you would buy in your 1985 Suburban C1500. And then everything now is aftermarket in that. Very durable, very efficient, very reliable. Many manufacturers make that, and that's the transmission of choice here. It's very consistent, the reaction time is fast, and then from torque converter standpoint, we would run out of time and electricity to talk about that. There's 10 different manufacturers and 100 different ways to skin that cat.
Absolutely. You know, you go right through all those. I want to go to the chassis a little bit. Is there a favorite chassis builder for you? I mean, I'm being honest, you know, some guys say, well, I got to have this car. But after watching a few races last month, I think that if you can let go of a button, you can hang on and, you know, win some races.
My favorite chassis is the one that ends up in the winner circle.
There you go.
Like, I don't care. Really, we choose chassis based on repeatability, how light we can get it, and how fast we can get it. Getting one of these cars built takes on average about 2 years. A turnkey Pro Mod car, by the time you get it running, is $525,000. And there's about 15 different people that are involved from the time you place the order till you get it. You have your chassis builder, your body and paint guy, your wiring guy, you have your drivetrain specialist, you have your engine development team, which is what we do at KTR. You have whoever builds the third member. It's a lot of different components. So there's so many companies that make quality chassis now. I wouldn't say I have a favorite. My personal car, the Shadow, is a Tommy Mooney chassis, built, finished by RK. Our car here that we're racing today is Jerry Haas. We have Rick Jones, we have Jerry Bickle cars, we have Larry Jeffers cars, we have everything in between. So if a car works and it'll do its job, that's my favorite.
There you go. You know, it's kind of unique that you pick out that you like any chassis as long as it's in a winner's circle. You've been winning a lot of races all your life. I mean, especially the one in the concrete pipe. I want to bring it up. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy, when I met him, told me a story about his siblings putting him into a concrete pipe and pushing him down a hill. And he said it was the ride of his life. And I asked you, did you want to go again?
Hell no. So what I was talking about, when I was 5 years old, I grew up very, very, very poor. I always wanted to race cars, but we had no money. So I would race anything that we had around the house. Well, we lived in a trailer on top of a hill, and there was a pond at the bottom, and there was a concrete culvert that we had that somebody left when they put the driveway in. So me and my brother and sister would get inside the pipe and have someone time us and roll down the hill into the pond, and whoever could get to the pond first won. And I have permanent brain damage from that. If you guys think I'm not too smart, I'm not too smart. It's because of that pipe.
That's incredible. But those are the stories. That's what makes you who you are today. I mean, you're so personable. You're such a great guy to visit. And I would tell any fan that is here that you would give them 2 minutes, especially the 2 minutes when you're tuning another guy. That's a very important deal as a racer. How do you focus so well on yourself when you're with Sydney and trying to get them guys to run up to par?
So we have a standard policy at KTR, and anybody that tunes cars out here at this level has this. We always give our customer our best stuff. So when I'm competing and racing with a customer and I'm tuning it, that customer gets my best stuff. Sidney Frigo's car's got our best engine that we have in the building in his car. And at the end of the day, we run these things with integrity. We make every car where we think it's the best it can be every single run and let the drivers duke it out. And that's one reason Pro Mod's so exciting. We have the cars so close that really the driver is the difference maker. In times past, if you step back 5 years and you ask me this question, I would tell you that the race car is the priority and the driver is an accessory. And now with parity being where it is, the driver is the star, the driver is the essential thing, and the race car is the accessory. You got to have the car, you got to have the performance. But if the man or woman in the box can't do it, you're not going to win.
Absolutely. You know, we've got some time. We'd like to take some questions. If anybody has some questions for Stevie, step up, feel free, anything.
What you got?
Hey, there's Donnie Chavez. He'll have a question. How you doing, kid?
How are you?
Good.
Hey.
Madison. How you doing? Hey, the little one's even getting bigger. Anyway, anyone kid, ask a question for Stevie. I know there's a bunch
What
out
you got?
there.
Bubba Stan wants to know if you can do anything with that 47 down at XRP.
Here's what I can tell all y'all about grudge racing. All this stuff with rules and parity's good and running close is fine. It's an open challenge. Anybody that's got a car with 2 doors that wants to grudge race for some money can do it, and my phone never rings. Bubba Stanton's got my number, and anytime he wants to line up with the shadow, all he's got to do is call.
Oh my gosh.
April 11th to 12th, XRP, come on.
XRP, April 11th, 12th. I'll look and see if the calendar's open. Hey, Bubba Stanton's a hero of mine, and he's an awesome dude.
He's a good guy. He's not afraid either.
Yeah, I love Bubba.
How about someone else? How
You got
about
one?
technical question?
Yeah, Stevie, you were in an accident a year or 2 ago.
Yep.
And how recovered are you now? Are you 100% or where are you at?
So the accident that you're talking about probably is Charlotte crash, I would imagine. I am 100% right now, so I have to go. My neck had been damaged from crashing many years ago, back before we had safety stuff. Like, I used to drive the orange car and run 520s with blue jeans and a t-shirt on with a no Hans device and a dirt bike helmet. So the crash from Charlotte finished off an injury. The team of surgeons that put my neck back together did a phenomenal job. They tell me that it's 100%, and I get it scanned twice a year. They tell me that it is stronger than what it was. The bone actually, they put a titanium cage in there, basically hold my head on. I tried to get them to make me taller, but they wouldn't do it. But the bone has settled in around the titanium. I'm 100%. I wish I had done the surgery a long time ago. I'm ready to roll.
Wow. Anyone else?
Yep.
So talk a lot about the past,
Yep.
successes and where you started.
Yep.
Clarify for me, maybe everybody else, the difference in ET, mile an hour, horsepower, as opposed to what you're driving today. And the old orange beast to today.
The biggest thing from the old days is we had no race car technology, and the biggest increase in performance is the fact that if you step back 10 years, everyone that raced tuned their own car and built their own engines and built their own transmissions and hauled their tow truck to the track, unloaded their car and raced it. So what you had was, if you were good at what you do, if you're well-rounded like I am, you won a lot. Now, everyone has a crew chief, a tuner, someone that builds the motors, someone different drives it. So the performance from there going forward is basically a lot of hired labor and a lot of skilled individuals that are good at what they do. You'll hear me say this all the time. If anybody wants to start from the beginning and race, what I mean is I'm going to build the chassis and you're going to build yours. I'm going to build my motor and install it. We're going to load the cars up. We're going to drive the truck to the track. We're going to unload it, set the awning up, jack it on the Projects, put the tune up in it, haul it to the staging lanes and go drive it. I like me against anybody. Me, Todd, and Ricky Smith are going to be the only three. I don't know if that's your specific question, but the biggest performance advantage you've seen over the last years is availability of technological parts and the internet. You can now go on killintimeracing.net or prolineracing.net or any of these places, and you can buy the same parts that we race out here. 10 years ago, I went and bought a set of Brodix heads from Summit and ported it with a die grinder and went and ran it, and if there was performance there, I didn't sell it. Well, now racing is so big, it's my livelihood. If we find performance, we sell it to the customer.
Awesome deal. Next.
Nope.
What do you have for breakfast this morning? 3 a.m.?
The hotel had a lovely biscuits and gravy this morning. It was not
That's a
southern biscuits and gravy,
but it was
pretty good. I'd call it a solid 7.5 out of 10.
That's awesome. Anyone else have a question?
What you
There
got?
you go.
How many Pro Mod cars are there here today, and how many turbo and nitrous cars and centrifugal cars, like the ratio?
So I think we have 22 or 23. Is that right? Cars. 20 total cars. We have one nitrous car. Is that right? I don't know the exact specifics, but I would say we have 5 to 6 centrifugal cars. I would say we have 7 or 8 screw-blown cars and 3 or 4 roots cars. Is that close? And the ratio on that ebbs and flows with rule changes. If one power adder continues to dominate, you're going to see folks gravitate towards that. And then as soon as we get over there, NHRA takes it away. The parity between all the combos is so close, 20 pounds up or down would make any combination run at the front or the back. Like the roots blown combination, I think just got 10 pounds off. That thing's going to run really good here. You'll probably see it in the top qualifying spot. Literally 10 or 15 pounds will move that number 1 to a number 8. So our goal is to always have it where we can make everybody run the same with 20 pounds. That's our goal.
Anyone? Feel free. The dog had a question, but it turned on you. That's not the first time you've been bit by the dog.
I get bit by the dog a lot.
Anyway, but we thank you all for a great morning. Stevie Fast Jackson, KTR.
Yep.
All the great things.
Thank you guys for coming out. I know it's early on a Friday. Everybody here that does this, we do this because you guys come out and watch us do it. If you guys don't watch us do it, we don't have a sport. Thank you for emotionally investing in our class. We love Pro Mod fans, and we hope you guys love us. We put in a lot of work to do this, and we're going to put on a heck of a show for you guys today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Enjoy.
Thank you.